Welcome to Lead Today with me, Kalyna. Let's talk leadership. So this time of year, a lot of big podcasters are putting out these episodes of like releasing the year, and I just want to touch upon it. We'll keep this episode short. I'm not going to do a whole practice. If you want one, Mel Robbins, yoga girl type of people, right? The self-development world is putting out stuff. Go grab their freebie. This is not, sponsored or paid or anything. Just if you want, like a template for how to do that, they are two templates, and go for it or create your own ritual. But I do think there's something to it, even if it's just like opening a window of your house, letting the old air out, new air in. We do this a lot in springtime, but in the cold dead of winter, there's just something to letting that, if you're even like just I've found sometimes I'm so tired and so kind of out of my body that literally even going outside, like if you're in a cold place, that cold will snap you right back, right? So maybe it's that. Maybe just snap yourself into it a little bit with some cold helps me. So that's one thing I think is just wake up a bit if you've been in a daze, which the holiday season can do to you. It's kind of, if you celebrate Halloween, but there's sort of this ethos around the culture of like Halloween, Thanksgiving, or Thanksgiving, Halloween if you're Canadian, but Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, it's like it's just these months that things are getting colder and days are getting shorter, and it just feels like a bit of a blur. And then Christmas happens, and then there are these weeks or days, it's days, it feels like weeks between Christmas and New Year's where you're just like, what day is it? Where am I? And then it's the new year. And then you're supposed to kind of feel anew, but it's all still very cold, snowy. It doesn't feel like it's just kind of, it's another day. And so you try to wrap your head around that. In the self-development world, again, you're getting a lot of like, okay, release. And I get that. It's an ending of a sense for you. I know for me, springtime feels more of that like renewed beginning. And so if you still feel like you're kind of not there with this idea of releasing the year, that might be because we're literally in hibernation mode. Like when things are frozen under the ground, like they're not moving, right? They are not moving. They are hibernating. Insects and things like animals go into hibernation mode. They're not releasing anything. They've stored up all of this energy, right, over the summer, and then the fall is this pruning, and then the winter, everything stops. It's like silent, this kind of silent night visual, or even in the day, like when you look at the snow and if there's no wind and these trees with no leaves and it's just icy cold silence. I think it's a good time to maybe take stock, but it's also just a time to stop, you know. Maybe it's not the time to create something new. Maybe it's not the time to have like, it's just time to recuperate from all the action. And yet, what are we doing? We're like buzzing with errands. People are, cars are zipping, the malls are crazy. We're not doing the stop and recuperate thing. And I think that's why a lot of people are getting sick this time of year. Of course, the temperature changes and things, but it's like we have to slow down, nourishing warm foods, slow down and recuperate. And so if you want to do a releasing ritual, great. If it doesn't feel like now's the time, spend a couple weeks on it. I do believe it's a good thing to do. I just don't know if you have to do it right this second. If you want to, again, I encourage you to find one. I do a version of it, and I do feel that energy of like setting new goals. I like that January energy because things are so cold and they feel icy. There's this like icy feeling, this frigid feeling. So it's nice to get under a blanket and set some new visions for when the snow does melt, and even metaphorically, right? Like when that stay in place kind of feeling, when that hibernation starts to thaw, okay, what are we doing in the spring, right? So it is kind of a nice time to, okay, what happened this year, and then where are we headed in the new year? But the new year might feel to you like April, at least for me. Maybe that's because my birthday's in April. I don't know. But that springtime energy certainly has a basis for renewal, right? From a seasonal perspective, again, depending on where you live. So it might, if it's just hot where you live all the time, that syncing of the seasons might feel a little bit different for you. I mean, there's some variation in the sun, but you might have different cycles. Maybe it has to do with your work cycle. Like maybe you're showing up to this episode and it's not December at all, and you're like, okay, but my work year really revolves around starting of the school year or tax season or certain deadlines, right? So just aligning with kind of the cycles of your life. And I think I've spoken about this in past episodes regarding female cycles, like women's menstrual cycles and how that is significant on a monthly basis for women, or around 28 days, right? And historically, they did align with the cycles of the moon, which I find fascinating. And so, are you aligned with that? And apparently, that's not happening as much anymore, literally due to light. So, city lighting, it actually disrupts your ability at night to understand the cycle of the moon, because it would be brighter in the night sky or darker dependent on the phase of the moon. But if you have city lights and there's lights shining, anyway, not that this is an ad for blackout curtains, but I definitely believe in blackout curtains. Um, Long-winded circular thinking to say there are cycles in life. What cycle are you in right now? Are you in a cycle of releasing? Great, let's shed the 2025 deal. Let's do that. And for me, what I like to do, again, Mel Robbins practice probably aligned, like has the structure to this. I'm not going to go and create, there's just no reason for me to go and do that. Maybe one day I will. But I like to emphasize that this can be a practice for you. I'm also not going to go through my own version of this. Like, you don't really want to, maybe you want to hear some of it, but like, I don't think you need to know all of my thoughts on the year for myself. But if that's your vibe, Yoga Girl will have your deal there where she goes through the prompts and answers them for herself. And so then you kind of get a sense of how to answer the prompts. So she's got prompts and she'll do her own self reflection. So that's her vibe. And then Mel Robbins will kind of give you more structured, like, here are the questions, 20-page workbook, more of like a school type of vibe. And so I like the workbook. And I do like the reflection to just get my mind jogged and thinking. I just am not going to go through every single month with you of my year, because it's been a harrowing year somehow. Like, I just feel like life has beaten me up this year. In all honesty, it's been hard for me. And, people have it worse. Like, I'm alive. I'm relatively healthy. Thank God. My family, like, there's been some death in my family, but mostly I'm good and I'm very grateful. And it's not that, like, I know that I'm lucky, but my spirit has just been beaten down this year. It's been really hard, even though it's been the most beautiful year of my life. Like, you can have the most beautiful year of your life in many ways, and it can be the hardest thing you've ever been through at the same time. And that's just where I'm at. Where, like, I am excited for the thawing of the snow, and the moment where, like, okay, seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's definitely been a tunnel. And so if you're in a tunnel, I get it. And so it might not feel like, hey, I want to, release. It's like, if you're in the middle of the tunnel, if you're still in that darkness, if you're still in the challenge, maybe you're not ready to be like, oh, okay, everything's good. Like, okay, maybe it's not. Maybe. So really, I just want to say there's this pressure this time of year to release and set these resolutions. And then everybody forgets about them by the end of January. Like, maybe it's just not, just be true to yourself. I think, like, the more I see, and this is coming to me even just right now, but the more episodes I do of this show, the more I just show up here, the more I go through my life. It's like, just be authentic. Like, who are you? What do you actually want to do? What do you actually think? There's so much of life that's pretend. It's like exhausting. Like, why are we pretending? Like, you don't, it's just not helping anybody. We think we're helping people. We think we're being a better manager. We're being a better leader by pretending. No, there are ways. Okay, let's caveat, right? Like, there are ways to say things. There are communication strategies. There are ways to think about things. There are absolutely structures and frameworks that will improve. Okay, we may have to pause this. There is stuff happening outside. There are ways to think about things that are and can be supportive and improve your thinking process through the framework that you're using, like 100%. But you putting on airs is just so exhausting, and I don't think it makes you a better leader, manager, mother, father, person, friend, anything. Like, delivery matters, so the way you say things matters, but you have to say the truth. You have to say the things that you truly think, believe, feel, and not to everyone and not all the time, but at least you have to know. Like, forget about fooling the entire world. How much of us are fooling ourselves? It's like inevitable, right? To some degree, you're fooling yourself about things. Is it your money situation? Is it your relationships, your marriage, or the way you're parenting? Like, where your health, where are you fooling yourself into thinking, yeah, I'm good, right? We all, oh, it's fine. No, if it's not fine, it's not fine. Like, let's acknowledge that, and then let's figure out what would make it fine or good or even great. Like, what would do that? And then what are you willing to do? Because you know what? We can have these visions, but honestly, what are you willing to give up? Like, for me, not drinking alcohol since 2019 is the best thing I've ever done in my life. But if I didn't have that car accident, I don't know. I don't know if I would have just like on my own accord shown up and been like, I'm not drinking ever again. Like, it was because I had to heal from a traumatic brain injury that the doctor was like, okay, caffeine, alcohol, these things are going to be harder on your brain while it's healing. Don't do them. And I was like, okay, noted, never doing, like, just not doing this because it's not good for me with the state I'm at. And then it just felt better. And then I just didn't want to do it anymore. So is there this kind of, I needed to literally be having this huge wake up call to actually get it. Are you having a big wake up call like that? Are there things you need to release that are kind of smacking you in the head, for lack of a better word? Like, are there things that are just knocking on your door and you keep trying to shut the door and stuff things in the closet and it's like overflowing? Those might be things to release. And if you're not ready, it's got to be voluntary. That's like the biggest thing about coaching. Like, this is not some like Jedi mind trick that can get you to release something that you're not willing to release, right? Like, these activities that the other, coaches or practitioners use, like, it's not gonna just magically make you do something. Nobody's making you do anything. That's like the craziest part of, I think, the way that a lot of us were raised, is there was so much structure, there was so much direction and guidance, and now this and this and then do this, and school is very like, this is the homework and these are the questions and this is how you're supposed to do it and this is how you're not supposed to do it. And there's so much structure to the point of when you actually get to look around as an adult, it's like, what? Hang on a minute. But how do I actually do it? Or how do I want to do it as myself, as this adult that has the agency? Like, a lot of us were not raised to have that independence and agency because everything was just told to us. And so some of us will just follow that template, and that's okay, right? Like, if you just want to follow the template you've been given, that's fair enough. There's a reason it's the template. But if parts of that template are not working for you, if they're, whether it's like, let's say you're in your career, right? Like, if you're on this career path, I know so many people by their 30s, even early 30s, mid 30s, they're like, what is this career? Right? They're just so burnt out by the hustle. In your 20s, you can kind of hustle and grind anything, right? Yeah, I'll be there. I'll do it. I'll show up for the 6 a.m. shift. I'll close at 7 o'clock. Yeah, I can, or overtime. I'll do it at night. I don't, if you don't have kids, you're just working whenever, you can be out a whole weekend and then get something done at Sunday night right before it's needed to be sent out. Like, you have wiggle room, but is it working for you? Is this career path and is this career, or I suppose work schedule, is it working for you? I know for me, it was just so many one-on-one sessions to the point where it wasn't working for me. I couldn't sustain it. When I was really focused on one-on-one coaching, I was just done. And I think that's a really big thing about this podcast. It's such a great outlet for me because coaching is so much listening. And so much input and not enough output for me, just who I am. Doesn't make one-on-one. Some people are great at one-on-one coaching. It just, for me, I need the output in a different way. Like, I need to be able to vocalize, whereas a lot of people don't. So just getting a sense of like, okay, this releasing idea doesn't have to be so huge. You don't have to like move countries to now release and purge your whole life. you can look at like, what are these little things that are not working for me, and make these small tweaks, things that you're like, okay, good riddance, you've had enough of, that you're just ready to let go. And it doesn't feel, I think it kind of feels Marie Kondo esque. Um, but I think when you have some of these habits, like for me after the accident, letting go of alcohol, just, it was like a no-brainer, right? I was like, oh yeah, I don't need this. So if you go through your clothes, right, there's certain things where you're like, oh, I don't know, you kind of, you feel this attachment. Okay, you don't, nobody's ripping these things out of your hands, right? You don't have to know, like, you might have guilt surrounding certain things, like if you have a habit that you're not happy with and you want to let it go, but you have this kind of guilt around it. Maybe we do another episode there. You might like to even check out the internal family systems, like get in touch with that guilty part of yourself. Like, why do I feel guilty about this? Is this harming my body? Is this harming my relationships? Like, what about this makes me feel guilty for doing it? Is it food related? Are there things that you're eating that just don't make you feel good, but you keep going back for more? Why am I doing this to myself? Like, what is it? Quick energy? Am I feeling not nourished? Am I going too fast and just eating like quick crap, quick garbage because I'm on the run all the time? Why am I, like, what's perpetuating me doing these things that make me feel guilty? Because why, you're in charge, you're the adult in the room. Why are you doing things like that? And I'm not at all, I'm saying this to myself, right? Like, I'm not at all trying to come at you. It's like, no, why am I doing these things that then after I do them I feel bad? Why am I doing that? And so if there are things where you're like, yeah, you know what, I can let this go now. It's not good for me. I don't need this. Let those things go. So let the things go that when you look at the sweater, you're like, yeah, I don't really need this. Like, I'm sure there's stuff in your life that's like that, where it doesn't feel as heavy to let go. And let go of those things. You don't have to let go of that like favorite sweater from 1995. Like, no, it's okay. Maybe you have a lot of those, and that's where the guilt thing and whatever. Okay, we could go down that rabbit hole another day. But for now, let's do the quick, like, let's cherry pick the quick, easy items. Because there's some of those, right? It might not be everything. If you have 100%, maybe 20% are like easy wins to just be like, no, no, I'm good. Like, let this go. Get out of here. I don't need this. But that's still 20%, right? I mean, yeah, okay, 80%, you're going to keep 50%. There's 30% that's kind of in the middle. Maybe there's 20% in the middle, 10% that you're really like attached to and stubborn about, and the guilt stuff and all of that. It's like, okay, but that's 10%. So we're dealing with 100% of your thoughts, items, habits, right? So if 100% of your habits, if you keep 50% of them because you like them, and 20% are kind of easy to start changing because it's just, okay, I'm just going to pack a snack. That's like even just one thing, like, okay, I just need to pack a snack because every day I'm eating a donut and that's just not a good, it's not a good thing. But I'm hungry and I have nothing beside me. Okay, I will just pack a snack. Forget lunch, forget like all these other things. I don't need 100 things. Just going to pack a snack going forward. That's enough. That's like 20%. That's a huge change in your day already. Cool. 10% is like, yeah, but the non-negotiable is I'm going to get that latte, and like I just love it, and it does come with, so like, okay, let's not deal with that latte today. But let's deal with the fact that you're starving, you have no snack. And so then you're getting the latte and the donut's like not doing it. So where are you willing? Where are you willing to just let it go and it feels light and easy? I think the rituals now around releasing the year, we kind of get heavy really quick. We get really burdened down into like these big things, the 10% that feel like everything. And they're not. They're 10%, but they're big, heavy, important items. But maybe let's not start there. When you're doing the Mel Robbins like worksheet and it just feels like, wow, I have to change exactly like everything about who I am, that feels hard. Okay, don't. Like, don't do that. Don't start there. And this is me, right? Maybe you're like, I don't do that. I just like pick easy stuff. Cool, great. Like, if that's you, teach me, because I just go down into the depths of the hardest thing and I'm like, but why do I keep doing this? Why do I like whatever? What do I do? Like being judgmental. Like, why am I so judgmental of myself? Why? And it's like, okay, if that's like, there's one thing I'm really hard about on myself and other people, and like, okay, we can get there, but let's start with the easier things. Let's start with like a couple quick wins. And I know that's kind of maybe a known topic, and maybe I'm just saying things that everybody already knows, but like, I think the reminder is good. I hope that the reminder is good. I need the reminder. So this serves as your reminder. If you're doing rituals about releasing, whenever you're doing them, maybe it's not this time of year, but when you do them, maybe start with a couple quick wins, start with some easy tweaks, make them easy, because that's when you'll be feeling lighter. If you lose 20% of your weight, you're going to feel a lot lighter. And that 10% that's kind of nagging at you is going to be easier than when you're lugging around that 30%, right? So let's start with the kind of quick wins, the 20%, okay, I need to go for a walk 5 times a week. I just need, like, that's, forget the gym, forget the, what, I don't know, like wherever state you're at, if it's like, okay, I've been going to the gym, but I'm just not trying hard enough. Like, I feel like I'm just kind of faking it when I go there. Okay, so let's just spend less time, but like actually do these 3 exercises really well, or these 5 exercises really well, or like you come up with it. You're the boss, not me. But do it in a way that doesn't feel heavy, is my wish for you and my wish for myself. So as you go into these rituals and this season of releasing and then resolutions, let's try to find that 20% that feels good to let go, instead of giving ourselves a hard time about the 10% that's just super tough. All right, I will see you next week. I hope you take good care. Until then.